Hello everyone. In previous class we have studied about the measures to correct the balance of payment disequilibrium. In today's class we are going for the international trade theories. In your syllabus it is just the overview of the international trade theories, so that we are not going in detail for the international trade theories. Fundamental questions in the international trade. Why does international trade take place? What determines which country should export a particular good and which country should import it, and who gains from such trade? Correct? So these all are the questions while we speak about the international trade. So why does international trade take place? In general, you can write down to expand the business, to diversify their risk, and to earn more profit, to earn more market shares, and also these all are the strategies, or these all are the objective of the international businesses, or the aspects which encourage to enter into the international business or international market. So why nation trades? Nations are different, and unequal distribution of the natural resources will be definitely there. For example, India doesn't has a much oil resources, so that they are importing it. Differences in the technology and the cost advantages and different preferences. Okay. To achieve the economies of the scales in the production, so economies of the scale can be achieved only when there is a optimum production. Correct. So that is what. Why to study the trade theories? Okay. So while we talk about the benefit of the international trade, theories show why countries should trade for products, services, even when they can produce them domestically. When the countries can produce those products domestically, why should they go for the international trade, or why should they import those products? So trade theories says this. And trade theories talk about pattern of the international trade. So what is the pattern of international trade? Okay, theories shows why countries specialize the way they do. We call it as factor endowment theories. And this theories talks about the role of the intervention. Theories help articulate the role of the government policies like tariffs, quotas, etc. So for this reason, we have to study the international trade theories. So while we speak about the international trade theories, one question comes into our mind, that is whether there is a need of a separate international trade theory. Okay, for international trade, is there a need of a separate theory? Is it like a domestic trade, whether there is a different strategies for the international trade? So there are two viewpoints. One is a classical viewpoint, another one is a modern viewpoint. Okay, classical viewpoint says there is need of a separate theory for the international trade. It means international trade, because domestic and international trade are different as following. Okay, because of the following factors, we can say the domestic trade and the international trade both are different. Immobility of the factors. So in the national borders, the factors of the productions are immobile. For example, labor and the capital. This is what the assumption of this particular viewpoints. Capital and labor are the immobile in the international trade. So that is why there is a need of a separate trade theories in international level. Then different political units. The political units are different from one country to another country. Different national policy and the government interventions. Okay, so national policies and the government interventions are different in a different countries. Correct. So that when we are going for the international trade, there might be some issues. That is why we need a separate trade theory for the international trade. Then different currencies. Every country operates in their own domestic currencies. For example, India has rupees, US has their US dollar, and China has yuan, Japan has the yen. Like this, every country has their own currencies. Correct? So, in this case, international trade is not possible if we have applied same theory which is applied for the domestic trade. Correct? So, for this reason, we need a separate international trade theory. Fine. The second one is the modern viewpoint. It is also called as Woodlin's viewpoint. Okay, there is no need of a separate theory for the international trade. Okay, modern viewpoint says there is no need of separate international trade theories. We can apply the same trade theories of the domestic trade, because international trade is special case of the domestic trade, since it has the following similarities. So here is the similarities between the domestic trade and the international trade. So immobility of the factors in the domestic trade, also the factors of productions are immobile, and even in the international trade also the factors of productions are immobile. So this is what the assumptions. Then transportation cost in domestic trade and international trade. So in international trade also there is a transportation cost, and in domestic trade also there is a transportation cost. Government policy changes. For example, if we are trading in India, so state to state government will differ. Okay, so since there is a different governments in a different states, the policy of the government will definitely change. Am I right? So this is what government policy will change, and in domestic trade also it will change, and in international level also it will change. So this is what the two viewpoints. The classical viewpoint says there is a need of a separate international trade theories, and modern viewpoint says there is no need of separate international trade theory, since international trade is the special case of the domestic trade. Okay, and it has given some of the similarities. We are going for the overview. These are all the theories. Okay, so in detail we are not going to study everything, and some of the aspects which you have already studied, so that one also I am not going to explain it here. Okay, so early thinking theory of the mercantilism. Okay, then the theory of the absolute advantage, then the theory of comparative advantage, which is also called as the Ricardian theory, then Exter and Boyle theory of the 20th century, and new trade theory based on the economies of the scale, and product life cycle, and Porter's competitive advantage theory. Okay, so the last two types we have already studied: product life cycle theory and Porter's competitive advantage theory. So we'll go for the theory of mercantilism. A trade theory prevailed during 16th to 19th centuries. The wealth of the nation is measured based on its accumulated wealth in terms of the gold and silver. So in this particular centuries, the wealth of the nation is measured in terms of the gold and silver. So when we're speaking about the evolution of the international monetary system before 1875, there is bimetallism system. Okay, so bimetallism system was there. Bimetallism means the two metals, that is gold and silvers, are used as the mode of exchange in the international trade, and that is why wealth of the nation is evaluated on the basis of the reserves of the gold and the silver which they has. Nations should accumulate the wealth by encouraging the exports and discouraging the imports. Theory of mercantilism aims at creating a trade surplus and in turn accumulate the nation's wealth. Okay, so this is what the mercantilism theory. So they need the trade surplus. They should export more and import less. Okay, exports should be encouraged and imports should be discouraged. This mercantilism aims at creating a trade surplus. That means exports should be a more and imports should be a less. So as like in the balance of payment statement what we have studied, when there is a more exports and less imports, we will have the surplus balance of payment. When there is a less export and more imports, we will have the deficit balance of payment. Correct? So mercantilism theory says there should be a surplus balance of payment. Okay, the exports should be more and imports should be less. Fine. So that's it for today's class. In coming classes, we will go for some other theories like absolute advantage theory and comparative advantage theory.